See a full gallery of images at JediInsider.com.
Hey guys, I'm Pixel Dan, and this is a review of the Star Wars Black Series 6-inch Bossk. Yeah, bounty hunters! Come on, don't act like you don't love those bounty hunters from that scene in Empire Strikes Back. Everyone does, right? And Bossk is one of the coolest looking of all of those bounty hunters, and certainly makes for a great action figure. So I'm so happy to see him in the 6-inch Black Series lineup. Let's check him out. As you can see, he comes in that standard window box packaging that we've seen pretty much throughout the entire Black Series lineup. But this is that newer style window box that has the open window on the top, so it is a little bit different than what we saw at the beginning of the lineup. Of course, it just has that very dark black color motif on there with a little medallion up in the upper right hand corner showing an image of Bossk. And when you flip that box around to the backside, we get a brief description as well as sort of a faded out image of Bossk from Empire Strikes Back. Alright, so let's get Bossk outside of the box and take a closer look at him. Like I said, he's such a cool looking character that he makes for a really fun action figure. And Hasbro did a really great job with this 6-inch scale figure. Lots of details put into this guy, which is something that I have really loved about this 6-inch scale here. So let's go ahead and take a look at that head sculpt first of all. Got that really great reptilian look to it. Got the two-tone eyes there with the red and the black pupils. Great sculpt all around the nose, the mouth. You can see the little white teeth sticking out of his mouth. And all of the scales are nicely sculpted and shaded. Great amount of kind of a gritty black dry wash on there that really helps to bring out all of the sculpted details in the head. Those same sculpted details, as far as the reptilian skin goes, are still present all the way down the arms there, into those very unique hands of his, which are only 3-fingered with the little talons on the end of them. And of course, he's got those big old monster feet at the bottom down there. 3 toes, little talons, and again, really nice black wash on there that helps to bring out all of those sculpted, scaly details on this guy. The outfit that he's wearing is that of a pilot's uniform, and it's done in that really nice kind of pale yellow look. Again, it has some of that black wash on there as well, so all of the little wrinkles and the folds in the sculpted outfit there looks very nice. He's got that white kind of vest on his chest there, and lots of cool like straps and tubing and all of those details hanging off of him. Very similar to what we saw like way back in the beginning of the line with X-Wing pilot Luke. The way all of those straps and everything are hanging off the figure are very nicely done because they're done in such a nice soft plastic that they don't hinder the articulation or the movement of the figure whatsoever, but they look really nice as well because they're not just solid parts of the sculpt of the figure. They're all hanging loosely and look very natural on there. So overall, he looks fantastic. He's got a really great sculpt. And the paint job is nice and clean on this guy with a great amount of shading to bring out all of the details. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at that articulation on our Bossk figure here. So we'll go ahead and start with the head, which is on a really nice joint. He's articulated at the bottom of the neck there, but it's a ball joint, so you can see he looks left and right. You can also slightly move him up and down. This is where I really wanted to point this out, because you'll notice when I was kind of moving the head up and down, it pulled the head off. This is done a little bit different than what we've seen in the past. He doesn't have a ball joint underneath the head, but instead kind of has this weird little peg system. You can see that's where the articulation is. The ball joint's actually underneath the armor here, and then the head just kind of snaps onto that peg just like that. It's not too bad. You're not going to pull it off. I only pulled it off because I was actually pulling up and down. You can see, so he doesn't actually get a lot of up and down movement because of the sculpting of the vest and everything there, and it is easy to pull that off. So definitely something that I wanted to bring to your attention. The other thing that's a little different on this particular Bossk that we didn't really see on the 3 3/4 inch figures is he's got an articulated jaw. So you can open and close the mouth. And it's pretty neat because you can see great details inside. He's got that nice pink tongue in there. All the little white teeth are showing. The mouth doesn't really open all that wide. You can see it's not a very big gap in the mouth. And of course, it does have some noticeable articulation points in the jaw back here. So it kind of breaks up the sculpt a little bit. Keep in mind, I don't hate it when I say this. I don't hate that his mouth opens and closes. I'm just kind of wondering how necessary it was, because again, breaks up the sculpt a little bit up here. So I think some people are gonna love it, other people are gonna hate it. Maybe you're like me and you're indifferent towards it. There you go. He does have nice ball joints at the shoulders there, so the arms can go upwards, forwards, backwards very nicely. You got great swivels at the elbows there, as well as an elbow bend. He does have those nice elongated forearms there, so he's got those really long arms. And he's got nice swivels in the wrist, and also has these little hinge joints in the wrist. I'm going to be a little nitpicky with those hinge joints. They're on the sides of his hands. I sort of wish they were on the palm portion of his hand so he can move his hand up and down that way. It would have been much better for the gun holding poses, the blaster holding, which we'll get to it more in just a bit. Other than that, you can see he rotates a little bit of his torso. The sculpt kind of hinders it just a little bit, so you're not going to get a lot of movement there. But he does have still the really nice ball joints at the thighs up here, the hips. You've got swivels on the thighs as well. You've got great double jointed knees, which are really tight. Got those great ratchet joints in there. You've got swivels at the shins, which is really nice, right at the cut of his pants, so it hides it very nicely. You've got really nice standard joints at the ankles, which is nice and tight. Again, those great ratchet joints. And got a good ankle pivot there. You can see really great motion in the feet. So even though Bossk is a character that kind of just stands still, he's more of like a taller guy. You don't see a lot of dynamic poses out of this guy, especially in the movie. It's cool to know that you actually can get some cool dynamic poses with his action figure. So that's going to bring us to Bossk's one accessory, which is his blaster rifle. Definitely something that we need. It's iconic seeing Bossk standing there holding onto that rifle. And it's really nicely done. It's a pretty solid piece of plastic. It's a little flexible on the back here, but it's not too bad. It's all just done in a solid black, so there's no painted details on the blaster whatsoever, but he does have this nice little strap hanging off of it, which does have some extra painted detail. Nice little silver on the buckles there and everything. And it can rotate around, so it's a little articulated. You can see it's loose in there, so that way you can bend the strap around, which is definitely going to come in handy for getting it hanging off of his shoulder in that very iconic pose where we saw him on the Death Star with his blaster slung over his shoulder like that. So his left hand is the hand that's sculpted with the little trigger finger and the gripping hand there. So it's really cool because even though he's only got 3 fingers, he still holds onto the blaster pretty nicely, and he actually does hold onto the trigger of the blaster, which is very cool. And it's really nice because you are able to get some two-handed poses with him since he's nicely articulated. But this is where I'm going to go back to that point on here where I wish that the little pivot on there, that little articulation on the wrist that allows the hand to move up and down, I wish it was on the underside of the hand so his hand moved that way, because I feel like he'd be able to grip onto the barrel of the blaster a little bit better if we can bend that wrist forward. But otherwise, you can get some pretty cool poses of him holding onto that blaster rifle. So there you go, my friends. There is a look at the new 6-inch Bossk figure from the Star Wars Black Series. I really like this figure overall. He feels very solid. I think he's got a fantastic sculpt with a really good paint job that brings out all of those details. The few complaints I have are very minor, in that the jaw articulation I do feel at the end of the day is a bit unnecessary with this guy. Not needed, but it doesn't really bother me either. I mean, I can understand how some people might not like it because of the way it breaks up the sculpt of the head, but on the flip side, some people might like the ability to open up his mouth for some of those poses. And then there's that wrist articulation, which is, again, minor gripe of mine, but otherwise, I really like this guy. It's pretty cool getting him into the collection. He looks fantastic when he's posed alongside your Boba Fett there, so you can start to recreate that iconic scene from Empire Strikes Back right there on the Death Star. I love it. So Bossk is starting to hit retail store shelves right now, and he's also currently available for pre-order at some online toy stores such as Big Bad Toy Store. So I'll go ahead and link directly to that in this video's description in case you guys want to go over there and check it out for yourself. If you guys enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit the like button and also hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on another video review. Happy hunting, my friends, and until next time.